All right, welcome to this week's installment of Easy Game Radio. I'm your host, AJ. Took a little bit of time off, didn't post an update last week, but I did go down to New Orleans for the Zurich and had an absolute blast. Spent the weekend down there with some friends. We brought our daughter, got to hang out with their kid, went to Jazz Fest on Friday. It was just a great time. New Orleans food is phenomenal. I love traveling to a city that has good food. Um, I'm not overly impressed with Nashville food. Nothing really motivates me. The hot chicken craze has jumped the shark. Um, but one, having really great seafood, having fun with friends, but also going to the Zurich Classic, which was great time. TPC Louisiana was a phenomenal venue, very spectator friendly. Got to see Rory and Shane Lowry play. By the time that we got in on Saturday, they were already making their way through the first 4 holes, and we saw them finish 5, tee off 6. And then after that, we kind of walked through and then found our seats because we bought the kind of like hospitality package. So it costs a little bit more, but it was absolutely clutch because, you're getting your food's included. You paid for it. They weren't the cheap seats, but with the drinks that you can get and the food that's included, it pays for itself. Then we had the weather delay, and we had a comfortable seat, mostly out of the rain. Like the tent was blowing around, got us a little bit wet, but the people were amazing. Highly, highly, highly recommend if you're going to travel somewhere to go to a PGA event, go to the Zurich. I know that the event itself is not one of the most favorite to watch because it is a team event. It has that kind of exhibition feel to it. And even for us, the field was light after the cut, and there were some folks that withdrew. Billy Horschel, he withdrew. Going to talk about him in a second, actually. Colin Morikawa, he didn't make the cut. So you're not getting the big names, but I like that. The crowds weren't crazy. When we watched Rory and Shane, I mean, there was nobody standing in front of us. We were able to see what we wanted to see. And it was a great time. So highly recommend going down to TPC Louisiana and checking out the Zurich. If you had to pick one, also like super kid friendly. We didn't take our daughter, but absolute blast. So talking about the tournament this past weekend, TPC Craig Ranch, the CJ Cup, Byron Nelson down in McKinney, Texas. Newsflash, everybody, real groundbreaker here. Scottie Scheffler, man's good at golf. Man plays a different game when he's on his game. I think that 2024 Scottie kind of spoiled all of us because we've always having a down year, but like, is he really? And then he came alive, of course, in his home state of Texas, kind of a home field advantage for him. But Scottie Scheffler finishes 31 under par for the weekend, total 253. Ties the 72-hole record that was set by Justin Thomas in 2017 at the Sony Open, and then Ludwig matched that at the 2023 RSM Classic. His 54-hole lead, talking about Scottie, was the largest since 2011. He had rounds of 61, 63, 66, and another 63 on Sunday. So if anybody was worried about Scottie, you know what? Sleep well. He's fine. But talking about one of his days, talking about his Saturday, this man birdied every par 5. He scored 3 under par on the last 5 holes. He had 7 birdies and 2 bogeys. And by the way, that was his worst round of the tournament. That's 66. This marks his 14th PGA Tour victory, first of the season, of course. And there's also some notable stats and things that come out of this. He passes Dustin Johnson on the how many total weeks were you number one, the overall, spend X amount of weeks, not necessarily consecutive, just ranked as number one. So Scottie now sits in third, 138 weeks at the time that I'm recording this. DJ had 135. Greg Norman at 331, and of course, none other than Tiger Woods himself, 683 weeks as the number one. So breaking down the math for that, Scottie now needs 10 and a half years worth of number one weeks to catch Tiger. And yeah, could he do it? For sure. That's a pretty big feat. Scottie's still young in golf years, but if that doesn't speak to the scale that Tiger won at and how dominant he was, I don't know what else would convince you that Tiger and Scottie's game's totally different. And even last year with the dominance that Scottie had, it's not even the same level. Also with this win, Phil Mickelson had to eat his words back in March. He tweeted that, does Scottie win in 2025 before the Ryder Cup? I don't think so. Phil, now wrong, walked back his trash talk appropriately, and said, so it might have been off on that one. Congrats to Scottie. So final payouts for that weekend, Scottie took home $2.7 million, 500 FedEx points. Eric Van Rooyen, who had a great weekend, pockets $1 million. Sam Stevens in third, takes home just under $700K. And now for the overall season points, the FedEx Cup standings, these are rounded. Rory sitting in first at 2,400, Scottie at 19, and Justin at 17. This upcoming weekend, teeing off tomorrow, is the Truist Championship. A little bit of a curveball with this one this year. Normally held at Quail Hollow, but because Quail is hosting the PGA this year, just a couple weeks, Truist is going to be hosted at the Philadelphia Cricket Club. And as I'm recording this, the PGA's Creator Classic is, yep, they have started. I was just looking over on the computer screen there. They have started, and this course is not a normal stop for the PGA Tour. This is an alternate location. Philadelphia Cricket has two courses. Truist is going to be playing on the Wissahickon course, which was open for play in 1922. I love old courses. Completed renovations in 2014. Plays at a par 70, just around 7,100 yards. I was listening to PGA radio on XM the other day, and a caller from the area called in and said that they've just been getting a ton of rain lately, and apparently they know people that have played the course, and the rough isn't playing like normal crazy rough. And so the opinion was, well, these players are going to absolutely tear it up. If the course is wet and it's playing as a par 70, like, yeah, maybe we see another minus 30. But the field is stacked. Scottie Scheffler opted out. No surprise after his big win, as well as being so close to a major with the PGA coming up. But the rest, minus Scottie, the rest of the overall world golf ranking top 10 is there. Rory coming back to defend his title. And I give him the air quotes and give him the asterisk because, sure, it's called the Truist. It's the same weekend and the title sponsor is the same, but it's a totally different course. I don't think it's really fair to call it defending his title. But Rory will be there, and I think it's going to be a fun one to watch simply because it's a course that we don't see. The last time that the PGA at all had an event there was in 2016, and it was actually a Champions Tour event won by Bernhard Langer. And I really doubt that a lot of players have made a conscious effort to go up to Philadelphia in the beginning of the season. Of course, this week they were there, and maybe if somebody took a week off in the last couple of weeks since the Masters, they might have stopped by Philly and checked it out. But I think this is just like one big away game for all the pros. So I'm excited to see how they do on that. And yeah, do we see another minus 30? I think it's possible. I'll have to see what the weather does. But with the rain this last week in Philly, I really doubt that they're putting mowers on that rough. So if it is where it is right now, and that's what the players are going to get. It's Wednesday. Looking over at the Live Tour, Bryson wins at Live Korea. He had a Sunday 66, tournament total of 19 under, 197 for his 54 holes. This was a solo and team win for Bryson. This is his third since joining the Live Tour, first for this season. Second place was his own teammate, Charles Howell III, and Bryson takes home, of course, nice Live Championship paycheck, $4 million. Talking about Bryson, but also with this weekend's event with the Truist up in Philadelphia, looking at the Ryder Cup, there were two injuries that were just announced, Billy Horschel and Jason Day. Billy's having to have a preventative hip surgery, so he's withdrawn from the Zurich. He's expected to come back late summer, early fall. And Jason Day, who's had his career has been filled with injuries. If you look back 10 years ago, he fought through like vertigo issues, and he's had some physical ailments as well. He announced that he has a herniated disc. So those guys out of the field. And as we start looking at the Ryder Cup, and you see Bryson finally getting a win again. And of course, he did great at the Masters overall. Disappointing Sunday finish, sure. But are we starting to see some Ryder Cup names get formed? So congrats to Bryson on the win over on the Live Tour. Looking ahead, the PGA. Tour is going to move to Myrtle Beach for the One Flight Classic. Going to be a light field following the Truist, as the major pros and the guys that are qualified are the ones that are going to be playing at the PGA at Quail Hollow. Obviously, they're taking next week off after the Truist. And then May 15th, our second major of the year, PGA Championship, Quail Hollow. Last year's champ, Xander, winning at Valhalla. And of course, this year, it's going to be stacked. Rory, definitely an easy pick to perform very, very well. If he gets another major 2 in a row, I mean, I'll lose my mind. Love to have the whole conversation about Rory's place in golf history, because that would, again, just kind of prove the point, like give the man his respect. But what if Scottie comes and wins it? What if a live player comes and wins it? So everything's shaping up again. I've said it every week. This is one of the best golf seasons that I can really remember. It's been exciting. We've had a variety of winners. We're seeing some matchups form. So really excited to see another major. Quail Hollow is going to be awesome this weekend. Philly cricket, it's a totally different course. Who knows when we'll see an event there again. So I'm excited for it. Again, tomorrow, Truist starts in Pennsylvania at Philadelphia Cricket Club. Then kind of a lighter week. And then following that, right back to a major with the PGA Championship, Quail Hollow. So appreciate all of you guys. Thanks for giving me a week off. I know the 5 of you were very disappointed by my absence, but hey, hope you enjoyed this one. Really appreciate it. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks for listening. Remember to visit us at easygameradio.com, follow us on Instagram, EasyGameRadio, and subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts.